The Holy Gospel according to Matthew, the 28th chapter. After the Sabbath, as the first day of the week was dawning, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went to see the tomb. And suddenly there was a great earthquake, for an angel of the Lord descending from heaven came and rolled back the stone, and he sat upon it. His appearance was like lightning, and his clothing white as snow. For fear of him, the guards shook, and they became like dead men. But the angel said to the women, "Do not be afraid. I know that you're looking for Jesus who was crucified. He is not here, for he has been raised as he said. Come, see the place where he lay. Then go quickly and tell his disciples he has been raised from the dead, and indeed he is going ahead of you to Galilee. There you will see him. This is my message for you." So they left the tomb quickly with fear and great joy, and they ran to tell his disciples. Suddenly Jesus met them and said, "Greetings." And they came to him, took hold of his feet, and they worshiped him. And Jesus said to them, "Do not be afraid. Go and tell my brothers to go to Galilee. There you will see me." This is the gospel of the Lord. Alleluia, Christ is risen. Christ is risen indeed. Alleluia. What beautiful news that great news is. The good news. I invite you to savor that for a moment. Listen to those words. Smell those words. Taste those words. See and touch. We will never be the same. I invite you in these few minutes that we're together, I invite you to put on your disciple hat for a moment. Did you really think that God was going to leave you high and dry? Did you ever wonder why God took 3 days? Why Jesus left the scene in such turmoil and didn't seem to be present? It sounds like John chapter 11 with Martha and Mary at Lazarus' tomb. Did you ever doubt that God would come through with this promise that he would rebuild the temple in 3 days? Now I invite you to put that disciple hat on. That other disciple hat. After all, we are followers of Jesus Christ. Did you ever think that God was going to leave you high and dry? Did you ever wonder why God is taking so long? Why death and turmoil is happening all around us in this country that is for the most part a peaceful, healthy, wealthy nation? Have you ever wondered, in our present crisis, in our poignant 40 days of Lent and our own 3 days in the tomb, why God, who has had creation in hand for eternity before this day and will have creation in hand for eternity after this day, why is it that God seems to be taking God's sweet old time, showing up to fix the problem? Have you ever doubted that God is going to come through with these promises? If you're human like me, You sure have. We've all felt this way. And even when God comes through, like the disciples who ran from the tomb, there is still fear mixed in with that great joy. Why? Because we've never seen anything quite like this. As you encounter the present situation, which most likely will have an official name in history one day. Remember, the Great War, or World War I, was the Great War in its context. As you experience fear and uncertainty and depression and those moments of joy, as you discover new ways to love one another in community, as you are shaken by Christ walking into your midst, Christ dying in your midst, and Christ being shaken up out of that tomb. Embrace that sacred shaking. Join Christ as you both walk up out of the tomb. Christ is alive. We are alive because of God's promises. Yes, it takes some patience, and it takes trust. But notice in the Gospel of Matthew, in this passage that we've encountered today, that at least 3 times Jesus is one step ahead of the disciples. Who are you looking for? Says the angel. Jesus is already up and out of here. Go, run, tell the story. But he's already heading to Galilee, and he'll meet you all there. While we're patiently waiting on God to come through with God's promises in the midst of these confusing COVID-19 days, know that God has already done the work. There's an empty tomb. Death and hell have been defeated. Jesus walks ahead of us, one step ahead always. And he calls us forth to step out of our tombs and follow him. I invite you to go and share that blessed hope today with everyone you encounter. Go encounter people. Call, email, text, write a note to. Holler out your window to your neighbor. Hallelujah, Christ is risen. Christ is risen indeed. Hallelujah. And we will never be the same again.